Hello, welcome to Bars and Bells. My name is Ian.
I'm Lauren.
This is the bar class. Today, we'll be focusing on heavy presses and light pliés. Pliés for mobility on those hips, kettlebells for that full body strength with Mrs. Rep right here. Lauren will get started with the foot warm up. We'll take it over from there with the bar. Let's get started with the feet.
All right. Without further ado, we'll have our feet underneath us, gripping the floor, spread out nice and wide, full contact, butt cheeks squeezed. And let's right away just push down and slowly find a balance on those tiptoes. Once you're up there, squeeze the cheeks even more. Bring the ribs to the hips, pull the kneecaps up, and then let's slowly descend back down with control. And one more time, we'll rise up to those double toes. And this time we'll bend one knee and land on a straight knee, and we'll repeat up to 2 toes, down to 1. Let's march through the feet 2 more times like this. I like to think about keeping the ball of the foot down, but trying to keep the heel really high off the floor. This time, we'll use our toes to point. I always like to flex and round over those toes, and then point back to that demi point, up to 2, come down to 1, pointy point, flex round over, back over the toes, up. This time we'll land on a straight leg, absorb the landing, sitting into a light single leg squat, press the hip back through to tall, and then double up. Heel comes down, knee bends, light sit back, stay stacked, shoulders on top of hips. One more time each side. As we're landing here, pressing the knee towards over the toe, try to relax the front of that ankle, leaving more space for that knee to come over the toe. Last one here. And then we'll go one more time, up, light balance again. This time, could you change your eyes? Could you look around the room? Whoosh. And then come back to center. Slowly descend. Let's go do heels land, then knees bend, and then heels will peel off the floor. Press back up to tall. This time, we'll descend slowly, keeping both heels high off the floor. And then from there, soft landing on knees, extend the hips through, point the toes out the back, and sit on those pointed feet. Let's extend the hips through and come into our first plank. Our plank is a good warm-up for our presses, as we'll need that tension to press our heavy bell overhead. So hands gripping the floor underneath shoulders, toes all tucked, hips are lifting, hips lightly scoop under, connecting those ribs to hips, squeezing the cheeks, pulling the floor together underneath of us, and breathing. Tension through every muscle of your body, maybe not your jaw, unless you're talking, but breathe, squeeze, brace, pull the floor together for 3, 2, knees come down. Whew. Take a second off. Let's swivel into the splits, and we'll come back to that plank for one more on the way up.
Sitting nice and tall with the hips tipped back. If those hips are the bowl of punch, make sure those hips or the belt line is sitting level. So with, again, that cow or anterior hip in the tip, maybe take one foot and karate it, and then take the other one and point it, and do a point and the karate effort. And as we're here, plant our dorsiflex independent of the toes. So avoid that elf toe look of pushing through the big toe mound there. Now let's just set up both ankles in that dorsiflex or yoga style foot as well. And now make one leg stiff and super heavy in the ground. And with the other one, drive the heel into the floor and ask permission to bend the knee just a little bit.
Can I bend the knee a little bit?
And then straighten it out with those quads. You might heel toe that open a little bit and repeat the same effort. So stiff on the one side, press down on the other, maybe using your hands as outriggers the way I am here. And then casually let it safely stiffen and then wiggle it open a little more. One more time each side. So a straight leg, pull, hamstrings, adductors, safe fire on that groin here, and then a nice straightness and the knee open a little bit more. And one last time. One leg stays very heavy. The other leg starts to bend. Breathe, 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 and then straighten again. From here, keeping our spine nice and long, perhaps just walk your hands forward. Perhaps just a little side to side slide, if you will, or maybe even draw a little circle with the rib cage. But no matter what, our hips are tipped back like a cow, the knees are nice and straight, and be intentional with that foot shape as well. So as that challenge, let's again put the hands beside the hips, work on that compression as we tuck ourselves in, and can we walk ourselves all the way through into the plank. Anyhow you can, Lauren, and tell us what to do from here.
So in that plank position again, we'll squeeze the cheeks, and I want you to think about pulling in that X pattern this time. So without moving, pull your right hand to your left hip and your left hand to your right hip and pull them across your body. Keep that tension pulling for 5, 3, 2. We'll tip the hips up to the ceiling. Let's keep our hands plastered to the floor and try to walk our feet in towards our hands. Breathing, holding, then gently press through the fingers, tuck the chin, and slowly stack yourself up. You have muscles on the front to the back of the spine. Use them both as you pull them up to tally tall. Before we get to warm up those hips quickly, let's hold our kettlebell in that rack position and just get used to that. And the weight of our bell today. Remember, disclaimer, the bell always feels heavier the first time you pick it up. Don't stress. It won't get any lighter, but you'll get used to it. Over top of your bell, hip hinge, pull to the rack, hold. In this rack position, maybe this is where you spend your time today. You don't even press overhead, no problem. Whether you do or don't press this rack position, we have the vertical forearm, the nice straight wrist, the bell resting on that forearm, maybe touching our bicep a little bit, but not too much. Ribs to hips, cheek squeeze, 3, 2, 2 hands on, place bell back down. Shake it out, repeat the same thing on the other side. It's a nice hinge. A lift off with the hips into that rack position. Again, shoulders lightly retracted, armpits low, over top, cheek squeeze, pushing down and out on that floor. That strong foundation, it's like you're in a standing plank for 3, 2, hands on, tight to the body. Park, we'll be back to press that bell in a couple seconds.
Those low carries, those rack holds are nice ways to bridge the gap between pressing and just checking in with your bell. And these movements on the bar are great to check in on those hips. So we'll start in a parallel stance here, and with that outside leg, do our straight leg point right up the midline. Then karate the ankle or dorsiflex, and do our external rotation in the hip, meaning kneecap goes towards the outside, and then our internal rotation, kneecap towards the midline. Repeat a couple more, and we're squeezing on that standing leg. Use your bar to balance, but also maybe test without. And as we do, keep the standing hip forward, rotating in one more time on that leg. Then do a rotate out, followed by a point, and then take that towards the side. Now, when that leg's at the side, do a quick look down, and are the toes in a straight line across? If they are, let's do our karate ankle or dorsiflex ankle, and then turn in on the hip, keeping the knee straight, it's likely to bend, and then do our turn out. Keep the hip forward as we turn in, followed by our turn out, and the side butt cheek muscles are hopefully saying, whew, we're working for you. We'll do one more turn out, we'll follow that with one more turn in, and then point to the foot and get tall as you bring the leg underneath. Now with that same leg, let's reach it to the back, finishing with that toe point. Straighten the knee, that's a cue for you and me, and then turn the hip out to bring the leg from the back to the side, continue from the side to the front, and then push the hip forward to bring the leg underneath, and just hold our first little single leg balance here in our parallel position. Toes point down, hug the midline, cramp your butt cheeks, and when you return the foot to the floor, get the toes to touch, and push the hips through on top. Add that shake and wiggle, and we'll be repeating that on the other side. Feet in parallel, nice straight knees, toe point to straight ahead at midnight. Then karate the ankle or dorsiflex, and externally rotate with a straight knee, and then turn in on the hip. When we turn out, it's likely we pull away from the bar, so keep forward. When we turn in, it's likely we turn to the bar, so stay forward. Work that standing leg as we turn out on the lateral one. Work the standing leg as we turn in. Repeating one more time out, one more time in, and I guess I kind of lied, one more out, and then a point. And then with that point to the side, again in line with the toe on the ground, and then our external rotation with our dorsal ankle, and then turn in. Keep the knee straight. You'll feel it more in the butt where we want to feel this drill. Then do your turn out. Then follow with a turn in. And we're always thinking of Lauren's belt line or those level hips and the bowl of punch is what Lauren really says. And we'll finish with one more turn in. Then we'll point the foot and get nice and tall underneath. Now the final repetition before we press is to take that leg to the back with a straight knee, then turn out of the hip, bring the leg from the back to the side to the front, hips forward to bring the leg underneath, and then just pull up and hold our ankle balance, squeezing the standing leg butt cheek. Hold. And then get the toes to touch and cramp those glutes over top. Like it's easy. Shake it out. Press time.
Press time. All right, last week we did 2, 3, 5, 2, 3, 5. This week, 3, 5, 3, 5, question mark, question mark. Stay tuned. Let's start with 3 or up to 3. Pull that bell to the rack position. Strong foundation to press out of. Inhale. Up to tall. Inhale down. Up to tall. Inhale. Park bell. Let it go. Shake it out. Second side. Hinge grip. Sniff to rack. Up. Overhead. Pull down. Up. Overhead. Pull down. One more. Overhead. Pull down. 2 hands on. Park bell. We'll be back for 5 reps after the bar.
Awesome. To the bar. Continuing off of the same movement, but this time with a bent knee. So pull up an outside leg to the ankle, and could we continue then towards the knee? We're doing that rond de jambe inspired movement here as the knee then goes to the side. We'll turn in on the hip, reach towards the back, and then point your knee to the ground as you bring your hip all the way through. So we're flexing on the hip again, meaning bring it forward to the front. Cramp that standing leg and then open to the side. Be sure not to lift the hip. So the knee might drop here, but turn in on the hip, and then we'll reach around to the back like that attitude hold, and then knee points to the ground, and just straighten out the knee in place there, giving it a little bit of a break. Returning to the back for 2. Reach to the back with the toe point. We have the smallest cat tuck or posterior tuck of the hip as we kick to the back, then bring the knee to the side. When the knee's at the side, return it then to the front and brush that leg through, keeping the hips forward as you reach back in extension. And then the knee goes wide as the foot goes underneath of those hips. Then we'll pull it to the front and we'll just hold that balance there. Continue to lift the knee up, but that hip on the same side reaches to the ground below. Hold for a second longer, and then ride the leg down to get the toes to touch, and then extend the hips through with a full cramp. And then a nice silly relaxation. One leg did a lot of work, that standing leg. The other one did the gesture. We're switching that. We have stability and mobility. Pull the knee to the front. That's hip flexion. Keep the leg up, but the hip low as we reach the knee to the side. Then we'll turn in on the hip, and that's where those side butt cheeks could say hello.
Hello.
And then reach to the back as if an attitude hold there, and then turn that the kneecap faces the ground. Pull the knee through, and we have a cow hip on that elevated leg to make room for the hip inflection, and then open to the side. Then turn in on the hip. Light balance on the aids as we need here. Reach to the back. Knee points to the ground. When those femurs or knees line up, just slowly straighten out the leg. Did it hover as you bring that through? That's a great sign. That means you're using your standing leg. Now for 2, reach to the back. Reach back first, and then when you're out of room, reach the knee to the side, the foot goes under the hip. From there, we'll bring the knee to the front and repeat to the back. We have a subtle cat or tuck under hip to protect the low back. Then the knee goes to the side, the foot goes under the hip. We bring that knee to the front, get the toes to touch, and then extend the hip through, and maybe a little extra balance. Awesome.
We did
no hands.
We were balancing on the other side. That's right.
Great.
Okay, it's to the number 5 here. If 5 is too many, do any number that's less. Do it well. Finish on a strong rep. Start with your non-dominant side. Whoa. Here we go. Hip hinge. Grip. 1. Inhale down. 2. You have a lot of muscles. Use them all. It's not just your shoulder pressing, but it's your core. It's your butts. And then soft landing and shake it out. It's that off arm. It's everything helping you. Except for try not to clench your jaw. Second side. Hinge grip. Inhale to rack. 1, pull down. Use that breath as well. Butt cheeks. 4, right?
One more.
Last one. 5, bell comes down with control.
And float. All right. Lauren had us do some nice sets of pliés here. So let's continue that from that turned out position. How'd you find that turned out position? Let's return those legs to the parallel stance. Take a leg pointed out front, do that dorsiflex ankle, do the turnout action, and return that leg then underneath the hip. Switch sides and repeat. To the front with a point, pull the foot to shin, do our turnout, hips forward, return. That's our first position. From here, feel a pull effort as we descend into our plie or our squat, and then push the hips forward, fully stretching the knees at the top. Repeating again, feel this pull effort as we descend. Pause, are your knees reaching to the wall behind you, and then push the hips forward over tops of those knees. Repeating again, we'll pull down, and then casually let the heels lift up to let us get a little bit lower in that sissy squat or full plie, and then connect the heels first, and then push those hips through, finish tall. And this tendu, or point out to the side, landing toe ball heel. Now it might be a little harder to use that bar, but here we are. Let's pull ourselves down, spreading the floor and push through, cramping those glutes at the top with a full stretch of the knees. Feel that pull effort down, controlling against gravity, and then push all the way to the top. The feet will stay to the floor this one as we get lowest as possible, and pause. Are your knees reaching to the back wall? Are we heavy on the pinky side of the foot? And then push through, finish tall, do our point. One more movement here. Take the leg to the front, that fourth position, and land. Now pull ourselves down and then push ourselves tall. Feel the pull effort down as both knees bend, and then push to tall. For one more, we'll pull, and we can pull so those heels might lift off the ground, and then get the heels to touch all the way through with straight legs, and then point and return to that first position. Let's do one quick switch here and just do that fourth position then on the other side. So quickly find that first position here, then do our tendu out, and then bring it around to the front, landing toe ball heel. Pull ourselves down, knees bending, and then nice and tall. Pull ourselves down and press through to tall again. And the final one, get as low as you can with the flat feet, and then lift the heels casually to get lower, and then get the heels to touch, straighten the legs, point the foot, and return to that first position. Let's shake it out, and it's time for bells.
Back to the number 3. We'll start with that dominant hand this time, so we switched it up each time. 3 strong reps. Hinge, grip, rack. 1, 2, 3. Pull it down and place it. Good. Shake it out. Same thing, second side. Here we go. Pull. Inhale, eyes up. 1, off arm tension. 2, butts on this one. 3, pull down, park. Whew. Good job.
3 sets down, just a couple more to go, a couple more steps on the bar as well. Let's return those feet to that first position. Optional to find that true stance, but again, tame that stance so that the hips, the knees, and the feet work as a team. From this position, let's pull ourselves down in that plie, then transfer your weight to the bar side, so that standing leg, and point to the front with the other leg. Land toe ball heel, and then push off the back leg to return weight to the front. Then land toe ball heel out the back, and finish pushing forward, and then pulling back to that first position. Same thing out to the side. Pull ourselves down in that plie squat, weight transfer to the side, land toe ball heel. Push away from the bar, and then push towards the bar to go back, and then pull the legs under. Same thing to the back. Knees bend, straight leg reaches, push forward to go back, push back to go forward, and then return to that first position. And one more time to the side. Knees bend, out to the side, push onto a straight leg, heel lands, push towards the bar, and then pull the legs together. Let's hold a balance here as we pull to the ankle and then perhaps higher to the knee. And this time, toes point down, knee points to your training partner at the side there, and cramp your standing leg. Return to the floor, push the hips through. We have two hips, one that did a lot of stability, one that did the moving. Now let's challenge each on the other side here. So we're in our first position and we're feeling ourselves pull down in the squat. We'll do that straight leg tendu front, toe ball heel, straight legs as the leg points back, straight leg point front, and return to first. And then pull ourselves down. Reach out to the side. The legs straighten together, and I'm pushing towards Lauren to move away from her, and the heels come back. It's our plie squat. It's a reach to the back, push forward, and then push to the back to move ourselves forward. And last one to the side, knees over toes. Reach to the side, weight transfer on one leg, and I'll push towards Lauren there to move to the bar, pull to first, and then pull up towards that passe or knee position. We're cramping the standing leg. We're trying to open or externally rotate in the hip so our knees face side, and if the knee lifts high, the hip is going low. Then ride the leg down, finish nice and tall in that first position, and it's time to press again.
All right, it's what we said before, 5 reps, starting with the non-dominant hand. Root your feet. Inhale, prepare for liftoff. 1, think about driving through that pinky side on the up. Pulling the bell down with control. All the muscles. 1 more. Boom. Pull bell down and park. Whoa.
Whoa.
Same thing on that second side. Inhale for liftoff. 1. Inhale down. 2. 3. 4. 1 more. 5. Pulling down. Parking bell. Shaking it out.
Whew. High tension and the shakeouts for relaxation.
Question marks next.
Question marks on the presses. We know what's going on here. It's that fondue. Let's pull ourselves again, arranging ourselves rather in the first position, and then knee bend, but pull an ankle off the floor. So we're in that ankle balance, and then point, stretching out front, knees straight together. Then the knees will bend together, and then reach to the side. It's that cross pattern now as you go knee bend together, and we'll stretch or reach out the back. And then to the side after the ankle, side. One more time on that flat foot again to the front, and we'll stretch those knees together. And then the knees bend together, and they stretch. We have those level belt lines, both knees bend, and both knees extend. And then one more time, out to the side. Now as we pull to that passe position again, let's try to lift the knee a little higher. And then we'll do that attitude hold out front. We have a nice bent knee here, toe point, foot traveling towards that midline or belly button, and then go through passe, and then reach it towards the back. Hips stay forward. We do stay turned out in that hip. Whew, that's a cramp. Reach, reach, reach. And then back to the passe or knee, and then ride down. So we finish again in that first position. Shake and balance. So 2 sets fondue on quad in that cross pattern, and an attitude hold out front and in the back. We pull as the knee bend, and we straighten those knees together. Laser beams out of those toes. Knee bend.
Pew, pew.
Pew, pew. Straight to the back. Full stretch of those knees. Full glute cramps. Knees bend together, and we'll reach to the side. It's to the front again. Knees bend. Find that midline with straight legs. Then knees bend together, and they straighten. It's the back again for the final time. Use your butt. Reach and bend and to the side. Now lift the knee higher as we turn to the passe position there, and then out front. The toes, nice extensions of the shins pointing. Knees slightly bend, but maintaining that turnout, and then to the passe or the knee position, and then we'll hold out the back. And even though this leg is cramping, that's up, it's the standing one that's doing a heck of a lot of work too. Then knee to the side, down with control, and maybe presses feel easy after that intensity on the hips.
Ooh. From one ball and socket joint to another. We're going to press one more time today. Is your number 1? Is it 2? Is it 3? Is it 4? Is it 5? It's presser's choice. So whatever number you would like to do, let's press it. Let's keep it strong. Let's keep your last rep looking great.
Great.
Show them you're a tiger. Show them what you can do. Ready? Let's press.
How many are you doing?
5. Hup. 1. Hup. 2. Hup. 3. Hup. 4. 5. That was Tony the Tiger, that roar.
Yo,
Shake it.
right.
Shake it out.
If Kellogg's is watching, I can do some voices, so we can do
Could be
it.
on the front of a cereal box. All right, same thing, second side. Rein it in. And 1. Inhale down. 2. 3. 4. One more. 5. Good job. Nice reps. Park that bell. Give it a little
Awesome.
tappity tip.
One more move on the bar. Actually, in open space, sorry. So let's clear those bells out of the way.
In space.
In space. But again, this is week 5. So just about 6 weeks ago, I set that goal that by the end of 6 weeks, I'll try to press that kettlebell 5 times in a row for 5 sets.
Stay tuned. Week
We're
6.
there. We're almost there. So we hope you come back next week and explore your strength always, and explore space with those hips. So assemble those feet again in that first position. Then do that tendu or reach, and then toe ball heel. Let's pull ourselves over so that one leg bends and the other leg stays straight. And could we do our full weight transfer that we could even lift the toe off the ground? That could be a butt cramp. Land toe ball heel, stay the same height, but pull yourself across and straighten the other leg. Hips to level, lift the leg. If it's lifted, show that inseam forward. Land toe ball heel. Feel the pull. Then complement that with that push. Give a little bit more room here, and then lift the leg if that's available. But this time, stretch the standing leg knee. Push the hip to tall. Keep the ribs stacked over the hips. Then we'll bend the knee. We'll pull ourselves the other way, finishing with that push. So we're on a single leg and stretch. Push the hip through, lean perhaps a millimeter away from that leg on the ground. Then bend the knee. We'll pull ourselves across. We'll finish with the point. Stay there or stretch. Stay there or find that demi point or toe balance raise there. Come down with control. Blend that knee bend. Pull ourselves again. Finish with the toe point on the other side. Stretch the leg. Focus on something in front of you. Hold the balance. Breathe. Land. Blend the knee bend. Let's pull ourselves to the middle. Then just push ourselves through to the top. Glutes cramp. Abs on. And then melt it away. A half hour. It's how we roll on Tuesdays, today, Thursdays, and even on Saturday. On Saturday, we play with our strength. Some handstands and some bodyweight warm-ups before. We hope you enjoyed this practice, the bar class. And again, diversify your movements with some play bodyweight style on Saturday, 8 a.m.
Until then, you should check out our YouTube channel. There's lots of videos live and in the archive. Like and subscribe and tell your friends and family. And check out our Patreon as well as our website. Until next time, take care.
Stay strong.
And we'll train soon.
Have a good day.
Goodbye.